record this for you, and if you want to watch it, you can go to headsuppoker.poker and go to the videos tab, and you'll be able to see this visually if you're a visual learner. If you just like sticking to the podcast, then I'll describe it for you as well. Okay, so we've got King Queen of Clubs on the button, and the blind levels are 10-20. Everyone has just about a starting stack, which is 250 big blinds. We're just super deep here. So, being 8-handed, it's going to fold around to the hijack, who min raises. So the pot is 30 from the small blind 10 and the big blind 20, and he makes it 40. So he does a min raise, and then it folds to us on the button with King Queen of Clubs. Now, what to do here? I like a raise because we already have the button. We've got a big advantage because we've got suited good hand on the button here. I'd like to isolate the initial raiser and get the blinds out. I want to go heads up with this hand. Now, what's sizing here? We could do something like 3x. We could do 120. At the beginning stages of these ignition tournaments, see, everyone here is anonymous, so we have no idea if we've played 1,000 hands with this person or if we've only played 3. We've got our HUD up, and we're only 11 hands in here, and the initial raiser we have 7 hands on him. Really not much to go on. He's a 29-29. Those stats are irrelevant. It's only 7 hands. So an unknown player. What sizing do we use? These early levels, I think I like going a little bit bigger, maybe something like 150. Build a little bit of a pot, and not only that, but what that'll do is if he re-raises us at that point, we can be fairly certain that we're behind. We're so deep we can call and take a flop in position and play our hand. We could also make it a little bit smaller. We could go like 90 or 100 just to get the blinds out and go heads up with the original raiser. But either one I think is okay. I think we need to raise here. I think calling is probably bad. I don't want to invite the small blind and the big blind in. I want to play this one heads up. So we end up raising. We make it 95. If I had to do it over again, I'd make it a little bit bigger. I think unknown players, 95, they're going to call as well as a bigger bet, but this really does not narrow his range much. It's just like the hand from last week with Alex when Aljaz wrote in. I think the raise here is too small, and I like it a little bit bigger. So if I had to do it over again, I'd make it bigger. He calls, and here I don't think we can narrow his range much. I think, if he's raising something like 8-7 of hearts, he's always calling here, and I think he's probably calling a bigger bet too, but we don't mind that. We want him putting in money with when he's behind, and we can go for the there. Okay, so total pot is 220, and we see a flop of 10 of spades, 7 of spades, 5 of clubs, and again we have the king of clubs, queen of clubs. So what do we have here? We're in position. We have 2 overs. We have a backdoor flush draw, and we have a backdoor straight draw. So if we get running clubs, we'll have a flush. If we get a jack-9, we'll have a straight. If we get a jack-ace, we'll have a straight. If we hit a queen, we'll have top pair. If we have a king, we'll hit top pair. So he bets 110 into 220. And so he's betting half pot. He's clicking the half pot button. Now, what to do here? How many outs do we got? We've got 10 clubs, 4 jacks, 4 queens, and 3 kings. I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. We've got 10 clubs, 4 jacks, 3 queens, and 3 kings. Now, one of the jacks is a club, so there's actually only 9 clubs there, but we've basically got 19 good cards. Okay? That's quite a few out of the 47 yet to be seen. So I don't think we're ever folding here, but I think we need to have a plan for the turn when we call. So this is thinking ahead on the turn. Possibly an ace or a 9 on the turn. There's 4 9s and 4 aces. 2 of those are clubs, which would both be good. I think that we might be able to continue because that would give us a gut shot. And the spades aren't very good. If a spade comes on the turn, we definitely want to play small ball. Like let's say the queen of spades or the king of spades rolls off. Now we got top pair. The flush got there. I think we should kind of keep the pot small at that point. We don't want to bloat it. We basically want to get to showdown. If it goes check check on the turn and then he checks the river, I think we can throw in a small value bet if we got top pair with three spades on the board at that point. So I like a call here. I don't like a raise because I think our hand has a lot of showdown value, a lot of equity, and most of that depends on what we see on the turn. So I like for a call. We've got 440 in the pot now, and the turn is the 8 of hearts. Not exactly what we're looking for. Not a card that can make us a straight. The flush possibility is out there, and our 19 good cards that we were hoping for, and the 6 more if you count the nines or the aces, have just shrunk quite a bit. They've gone down to, we now have 3 queens and 3 kings, so now there's 6 good cards for us on the river. And again, he leads out for half pot into 440, he bets 220. I think at this point there's nothing to do but just let it go, and he wins this one. Nice answer. But I think things to be learned from this hand: raise a little bit more pre-flop, get the money in, build a pot in position with a great hand that flops well, a hand that you're going to know what you got on the flop or you're not, or you're going to know what cards are coming on the turn that are really going to help you. And so I like a fold here. I don't really think there's any reason to call. His raise, and then he called my 3-bet. I think this flop just kind of smacks a lot of his range. I think we can take a lot of the nutted hands out of there. I think he probably would have 4-bet with aces. We blocked kings and queens, but those are definitely in his range. Probably would have 4-bet with ace-jack. Yeah, all the suited connector hands, this just smacks all of that, which are all in his range. I really like just a fold here. Now, the next hand, we have the 2 of diamonds and the 5 of diamonds in the big blind. We're still pretty deep stacked. We have 150 big blinds in the big blind. Blind levels are 30-60. This is from the same tournament. It's a 4K guarantee, $33 buy-in on Ignition. Again, randomized players. We have a few more hands on the opponents now. This time we've got 31 hands, 27 hands, and one guy only has 4 hands, so he's an unknown. But we've got a little bit of stats here. So 2 5 of diamonds in the big blind. Under the gun raises to 180. So he raises to 3x. He's got 55 bigs. And then we get a call from the cutoff. He has 80 bigs. He's the one with only 4 hands. We get a call of 180 there. And the button folds, and now the small blind calls 180. So there's 600 in the pot now. We've got opponents have 55 big blinds, 80 big blinds, and 55 big blinds. We've got them all covered with 150. And we've got 2 5 of diamonds in the big blind. If we call here, we close the action. I really like a call here. I think that 2 5 offsuit is an easy fold. 2 5 of diamonds, we can flop the wheel, we can get a flush. We're getting 5-1. I think this is a call. So I flick in a call. Pot now is 720. And the flop is Queen of Diamonds, 5 of clubs, 3 of hearts. So we have middle pair with a horrible kicker. We have a backdoor flush draw. We have a backdoor straight draw. A middle pair. Small blind checks. Now into 720, we've got 8,800 behind. Effective stacks here are 3,100 for the players under the gun, small blind, and then the guy in the cutoff has 4,600. So stack to pot ratio for the smaller stacks is about 4.5. So what to do here? When we're check 2, in spots like this where we flop middle pair, not a great hand, in spots where I feel like if I check and someone bets, then I'm going to have to fold, but I still have some piece of this. I like to lead out for a donk lead. And if you get a raise, it's an easy fold. Sometimes you get called. I think most of the time here when we bet out, we're going to get called somewhere. If we do get called, there's a lot of good turn cards, just like the previous hand. There's 2 5s left in the deck. That would be a hand that I think we could get a lot of chips from. There's 3 deuces. That would give us 2 pair. That'd give us 4th and 2nd pair. So there's 5 outs right there that we might justify getting stacks in. There's 4 4s, which would give us an open-ended straight draw. So again, the board is Queen 5 3. We have 2 5. A 4 would give us 2 3 4 5 for an open-ender. And then there's 9 diamonds that we got to remove the 4 diamonds because we already counted that in the 4 4s. So that totals up to 18 good cards. I don't mind a donk bet here. If we're raised, it's an easy fold, and we get to see a big part of, I think often here when we lead, we get to see a turn. So we lead out into 720. We make it 360. Okay, so we click the half pot button. Under the gun, now I think a lot of times here when he's nutted, he's going to raise it. Sometimes he's going to call. But with hands like Ace-King, I think he's going to call, which we're ahead of, and we're building a pot for that. Other hands, I think like 10s and 9s and 8s that he raised under the gun, I think he's also going to float one at least there. And then we get a call from under the gun. We get a call from middle position, which is interesting. And the small blind folds. So middle position, I think he can be pretty wide here. He's an unknown. We only have 4 hands on him. But I think he could be very wide. I think he could have a lot of suited connectors. I think he can have small pairs. I think he could have Broadway cards. Really wide here. So the fact that we get called by 2 players, I don't think we're hardly ever good here unless someone has 4-6 suited or something like that. Even that is quite a stretch. I think the only guy that would have that would be the cutoff since the small blind folded. But I think we're going to see quite often someone has a pair of queens. Someone may have something like a hand kind of like ours, like Ace-4 of clubs or Ace-4 of hearts or Ace-4 of diamonds for a gut shot and a backdoor draw and 1 over. I think that we're usually behind here. So we're looking to hit one of our 18 good cards. Okay, so the pot now is 1,800. Effective stack of the guy to our left, the opener, is 2,800, and the cutoff is 4,300. So we're looking to bink here. And lo and behold, this is not like the King, Queen of clubs hand. This is a different one. We turn the 2 of spades, so that rainbows the board. Again, we have 2 5 of diamonds, and the board is rainbow Queen, 5 3 deuce. So we have 4th pair, and we have 2nd pair. What to do here? I think we're almost always good. Against overpairs, we're good. Against a naked queen, we're good. If someone had Ace-4, we're just going to pay him off. If someone has a set here, I think sets are very often raising. I don't believe the cutoff is going to have pocket queens for a better set. I think very often if he has pocket 5s for a set or pocket 3s, I think we're going to hear from him on the flop. After we lead out, we get a call from under the gun. I think more often than not, an unknown player is going to raise a set there. And 2 pairs, 5 3. I think it'd be standard for him to call there with maybe an Ace-Queen. Sometimes they're going to raise that pre-flop. But I think this turn card, I think we've just outdrawn our opponents. So, do we lead here or do we check? I think it's better to lead. I want to get... There's a lot of bad turn card, or a lot of bad river cards. I think an ace would be bad. I think a 4 at this point would be bad. I think a king would be bad. A jack would be bad. A 10. there's a lot of overcards that are bad for us here. So I think any Broadway would be bad. We want to get some money in the pot. So into 1800, we click half pot. We bet 9. Under the gun shoves for his last 2800, and then the cutoff shoves for 4310. So, can we ever fold here? I don't think so. I think there's going to be, I think the under the gun could have overpairs in his range. I think he could have a queen. I think we beat a lot of hands here. There's only a few hands that we don't beat. I don't think queen 5, queen 3, or queen deuce are in anybody's range. And we block those, we block 2 of those pretty hard, having a deuce and a 5. So, I think it's a snap, get it in here. We call, and we win the pot. Doesn't show it here, but I remember this player under the gun had pocket kings. Don't particularly care for how he played it. I think I would have raised the flop once I bet out. And the cutoff, he's got 3-2 suited. If I remember correctly, it was 3 of clubs, 2 of clubs. So he had bottom pair and a backdoor flush draw, and a backdoor straight as well, like we did. We end up getting it in there, and we win a nice pot. River is a 6, not improving anyone else, and we win it. So, hope you guys enjoyed that strategy. Let's see what's coming up. We've got some guests coming up. I'm excited to talk to Mike about his deep run. We're going to pull up some hands from that. And, thank you guys for tuning in. Speech.